sheriff deputies who were providing security, I believe. Sheriff deputies come in, one thing leads to another, young man dead. Down syndrome, unarmed, over a movie. Did you see the videotaping of these troopers? They've now been suspended. It was a Massachusetts and a New Hampshire state trooper. They were each suspended just yesterday after their roles were revealed in a brutal beating of a driver who had refused to pull over. Apparently, this man just took him on a high-speed chase. You might have seen this before. The video is from overhead. It looks like a chopper, like a helicopter cam. And the man gets out. He's got no weapon. He goes down on his knees. His hands are behind his back or up on his head. The troopers surround him. I mean, the first guy comes up and just rears back and just, bam, straight in the kisser. And they commence to giving him a whooping. Boom. I haven't seen a motorist get beat like that since it's very rare. It's very rare. I mean, they whooped this man down. He wasn't a threat. He wasn't resisting. Literally, he was on his knees. His hands were locked above his head, and they beat him down. White guy. And now the troopers have been suspended. They've only been suspended because there's video. That's it. That's all. There's video. That's it. If there wasn't video, you know what would happen. The officers would either lie or they would make up a story to make themselves look good. Oh, he was resisting arrest. That's the favorite one. Oh, he was resisting. I don't even know what resisting arrest is. If on your knees with your hands locked behind your head is resisting arrest, I don't know what do you call it when somebody's like throwing blows with a police officer? Whoop this man down. Did you see this? Anybody can get it. Again, Tracy writes, the test is a self-esteem killer. I get you. I feel you, Tracy, but we've all had to take tests. That's part of the game. If you want to get into college, you got to take the ACT. So what, should we give her a pass on the ACT or the SAT? I mean, if this young woman decides she wants to go to college, she is going to have to take the ACT and or the SAT. Those are standardized tests that everyone has to take. Okay, you know about this. People who really want to get a high score, you know what they do? They start studying for the SAT. They take pre-SATs long before they take the real one because they want to get a high score. When you get to college and you start taking college courses, guess what? You're going to have tests on a quarterly basis. They're called exams. You're going to have midterm exams. You're going to have final exams. That's part of the game. So again, I don't mean to come off as, unfeeling and uncaring, but I've always felt like, okay, well, if you can't take this high school test, how you going to make it in college? Study. That's what it comes down to. Woody writes, he was a white Rodney King. Yeah. Of course, Rodney King got it much worse than that. Ms. D writes, the passing score is 400, which seems achievable in 7 attempts. Yeah. 7 attempts in a high school? I mean, come on now. Clearly, something's going wrong. Now, I would say that this young lady appears to be very intelligent. I mean, she's got a 3.75 GPA, so she's intelligent. So maybe it's sort of like she's psyching herself out, right? Because I know that happens. It's like, oh, I don't want to fail. My self-esteem is low. I get it. Well, now you've got to do something. I don't know, hypnosis, acupuncture, relax. A lot of people get really uptight with tests. I never understood that. It's just a test. You're going to get the answer right or you're going to get the answer wrong. Chill. Just chill out. You'll get it. Woody writes, 3.7 in one school is not the same 3.7 in another. Is that true? Maybe he's right. What are you trying to say there, Woody? Tiffany writes, maybe she is the type who knows the work during the moment it is taught and does great on the work, but she is not great at retaining the information being taught. A lot of people are probably like that. You're right. See, here's what I was thinking, Tiffany, and this is something that schools just don't do. Everyone learns differently. Everyone learns differently. Schools don't do this enough. Schools don't do this enough. Okay, I'm telling you firsthand. I'm going to tell you one way that schools fail our children, and I'm talking about nearly all of them, is that they don't take the time to figure out how each individual person learns. You can have a classroom full of students, like we'll say 20 students in there, and each of those students can have a different way of learning. For what do I mean by that? Meaning that some people learn by viewing it. Like some people, you can write it on a chalkboard, and once they see it, boom, they got it. That's how they learn. This is not about intelligence. You know, the way you learn to some degree has no impact. It says nothing about your level of intelligence. A lot of people get this twisted, and a lot of people get twisted in the educational system because of it, because schools don't take the time and the patience to determine how each individual student learns, and then to tailor the educational system to the way that they learn. Smart teachers are doing this. So you have some people that learn from viewing. They can see something, they got it. Some people learn from hearing. They can close their eyes and just listen, and they got it. Some people are tactile. They've got to actually touch it. When they're doing math, they've got to have some kind of, they call them manipulatives. They've got to have things that they actually count, okay? They've got to do projects where they're actually touching things and moving around, okay? It doesn't mean they're less intelligent. It's just the way that their brain works. Everyone's brain is a computer, but the way that they process the information, that human computer, is different for everybody. And so when I hear about people who are having problems with these tests, that's what I conclude. I conclude, oh, okay. Well, the way that they're being taught this test and processing this information, right, contradicts with the way that their human computer, their brain, actually processes the information the best. That's why you can have a situation where this young woman can probably go into the classroom and she's got it, okay? But then when you sit down and it's just like a piece of paper and a pencil, it's just not processing. That's fair. That's fair. And I think the reason why, schools don't take the time to do that is because you're talking about an incredible amount of energy and an incredible amount of time. Like in a perfect scenario, first day of school or first weeks of school would all be left to determining how each individual student processes information. And then those students who all process the information the same should be taught in a certain manner. Okay, that's how they should really be grouped. And then the students who are processed, maybe they have that tactile learning. They've got to touch things. They've got to do projects. They've got to have manipulatives. Those students should be grouped together. Most schools don't do that because you're talking about tremendous time and energy. So what happens is it's just a hodgepodge of everything, right? They'll have lessons in which they teach it and try to teach it in all the different ways. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it does not. But again, if you've got a student, if you've got a son or a daughter or a young person, or it could even be you. You could be thinking right now like, oh, snap, I never knew that. I mean, as you get older and you get a chance to know yourself, you kind of understand how you process information. It says nothing about intelligence. You are no less intelligent because you have to use manipulatives. You're no less intelligent because, when people say names to you, you can't remember them. Well, that's just not how your human computer is set up to process information. It's very, very simple. My name is Nathan Ivey. This is the Nathan Ivey Show. We'll be right back.
Rich is just a really, really good guy. The term good egg isn't enough to describe him. He's also certified organic and free range. Rich puts the cap back on everything. The toothpaste, the olive oil, the shampoo, everything. He lets his 10-year-old nephew beat him at virtual tennis, even though he can straight up slay his 10-year-old nephew in virtual tennis. When the toilet paper is running low, Rich replaces the roll on the actual holder, not just on the back of the toilet. Rich is texting and driving. Rich, no. What are you doing, Rich? I was just telling everyone how great you are. Texting and driving makes good people look bad. Visit StopTextStopWrecks.org. A public service announcement brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
This is why you work so hard to pay the mortgage. Because home is more than four walls and a roof. It's that porch swing on a summer night. It's pajamas with feet and everybody over for Sunday dinner. And that old stuffed chair in the living room you just can't get rid of. This is why you work a second job. This is why you learn to fix things yourself, so you could save on repairs. Because home is your place, your memories, your family sleeping in their own beds at night. And that is why we want to help. We are making home affordable, a free government resource that can make paying the mortgage easier. And now even more options are available. Call 888-995-HOPE today. That's 888-995-HOPE. Or visit makinghomeaffordable.gov.
Good night, Mama.
This is why. Brought to you by the U.S. Treasury, HUD, and the Ad Council.
Good morning. Welcome back. And let's get back to it. We've been talking about a local issue that concerns students in the state of Ohio. But enough of me. I want to hear from more of you. What do you think about it? Tanika writes, when I took the Ohio proficiency test, I missed by 2 points. I had to get my GED. Oh, man. Oh, that doesn't seem fair, Tanika. Did you take it 7 times? And what I believe is when you've got students that get jammed up like this, it's not about intelligence. It doesn't mean they're less intelligent or less smart than anyone else. It's more than likely about the way that their brains process information. Some of you may be hearing this for the first time. This is one of the great failures of the American educational system. One of the great failures is that they don't take the time to properly classify how each individual student, how your son or daughter processes information. I mean, we're all born with genius. And then we grow up, right? Then we're exposed to the larger society. Nathan Ivey with you, currently 7:45 a.m. in the Queen City. And next week, I'm going to give you more information. There's an event going down. The good folks... Well, you know, I may reserve it, but there's an event going down. I'll tell you more about it next week. And yours truly may be a part of it. And I'll tell you when and where you might come out and get some really important information about the state of Cincinnati, the health of Cincinnati. And proud to be a part of it. I'll give you more details on Monday. And speaking on Monday, like I told you, I can take my operation on the road. I may be in Tennessee on Monday and Tuesday. However, I will still do the show. We'll still broadcast the show at the same time. Still talk about people, politics, and pleasure. But like I said, I'm gearing up for the summer. There's a lot of events going on this summer. I want to be everywhere. So I'm going to regard this as somewhat of a test. You know, it's not set in stone. I may be on the road in Tennessee. I'll post pictures. We'll stay connected. But again, the show will go on 7 a.m. Monday morning. Tell a friend about the show. Most certainly. 2 points? Tonika, I mean, what type of learner are you? I mean, are you the kind of like a visual learner? Are you the kind of person that can like sit in front of or sit at a desk with a piece of paper and a pencil? I'd like to know. Keena writes, I believe the young lady should seek out a tutor or a place that can help her. From what I read, Keena, she's had a tutor for some time and it just hasn't worked. Perhaps that throughout that tutoring session that she's not receiving the information the way her brain needs to process it. Okay? So if you know a young person that's struggling in school, just kind of observe them. I mean, how do they learn? Again, there are some people who they can close their eyes literally. And I used to be like this in college. Like, for instance, my brain is old and flabby now. Well, to some degree. But there was a time where if I heard something, I retained it. If it sunk in, I pretty much got it. And when I would take a test, I could sort of almost access that file, open it up, and there was the information. So again, that was the way I was a learner. My brain was that way. So the way school was set up when I was younger was perfect for me. Okay, the way college was set up worked for the way my brain works. The way it works in college is, in most cases, you go to class,